so today we are going to be comparing fractions of amounts, okay? So we're going to be using some objects to find fractions of amounts. We're then going to be comparing some fractions of amounts, and also we're going to be looking at some measurements as well. So first of all, my first question, it says a third of 12. I need to find a third of 12. Now let's look at this fraction. What we've been learning about is the denominator, the bottom number. This is how many pieces or how many groups it has been split into when we've been looking at shapes. But now instead of a shape, I have got an amount, which is 12. So what I could do, I could find 12 of something, and then I need to find what 1/3 is. So I'm going to split the 12 into 3 groups, and then find out how much is in one of those groups. So if we go over here, I have found 12 dictionaries. So I'm going to split these 12 dictionaries into 3 groups, because I'm looking at a third. Okay, so I'll make 3 groups. There's my 3 groups. And I just need to keep sharing my objects out into the 3 groups. Okay, brilliant. Now I needed to find what 1/3 of this 12 was. So I'm going to look at just one of these groups. And how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we go back to our question, 1/3 of 12 would be 4. Okay, so our next question. Now I need to find 2/5 of 20. Okay, so I'm going to need to find 20 objects, and this time I need to split it into 5 groups. But then my question is not asking me to just count one of the groups this time. I need to count 2 of the groups. Okay, so my 20 objects I found in the classroom today, I have got 20 protractors. Okay, these help us measure angles. We'll be using those at some point this year. So I've got 20 of them. I needed to split them into 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I just keep counting them out. And there's my 5 groups. Now, if we think back to the question, it asked me for 2/5 of 20. So I don't just want to count one group, I need to count 2 groups. Okay? So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 2/5 of 20 would be 8. Okay, so now I want to compare 2 fractions of amounts. Alright, so we're going to do exactly what we've just done. We need to first of all find 1/4 of 12. So I'm going to find 12 objects. I'm going to use my 12 dictionaries again, split them into 4 groups and find out how much is in one group. And then I'm going to find 2/3 of 15. And I've got 15 felt tip pens that I'm going to split up into 3 groups and find out how many there are in 2 of those groups. And then we're going to use our more than, less than or equal sign to compare them. Okay, so let's go over. First of all, we need to find 1/4 of 12. So I've got my dictionaries. I need to split them for 1/4 into 4 groups. Okay? Brilliant. And for my 15 pens, I need to split them into thirds and find out what 2/3 are. So there's my 3 groups. Oh, they're going to keep rolling away from me. Brilliant. Okay, so they're my 3 groups. So what I needed to know is 1/4 of 12, so this is 1/4 of 12, is that more than, less than 2/3 of 15? Okay, so 1/4 of 12 is 1, 2, 3, and 2/3 of 15, well, there's 5 in each group, so that would be 10. So if we go back over to our question, which is 1/4 of 12, that equaled 3, didn't it? And 2/3 of 15 equaled 10, so this is greater. Okay, so now we're going to compare some values, okay, and we're going to be comparing money this time. So I want to know 2/5 of £1 and 5/10 of £1, and which is going to be greater. Okay, now I know that in £1 we have got 100 pennies, don't we? Okay, so I'm going to convert both of that into 100 pennies because it's just a bit easier to work with. And I'm not going to get 100 pennies this time, but we're going to use our times table knowledge instead. So, if I'm looking at 2/5 of 100, I know I needed to split 100 into 5 groups. 4, 5. Okay? And what I could do, I could draw 100 dashes and share them out, but that could take me a long time. So instead, I could use my times table knowledge. So if I had 100 shared between or divided by 5, what would that be? 100 divided by 5. Hopefully you said 20. Okay? So if I had 20 in each group, 20 would equal 100. Okay? And I want to know not what one group of 5 is, I need to know what 2. So 2 of these together would be 40. Okay, so the answer to 2/5 of £1 is 40p. Now don't remember to put your value, your pence on afterwards, okay? And let's do the same to this other side now. So this time I need to split 100 pennies into 10 groups. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And using your mathematical knowledge, your times table knowledge, what's 100 divided by 10? Hopefully you said 10. Okay? That's a nice simple question. So there would be 10 in each group. And this time I want to know how much is in 5 groups. Okay? So these are 5 groups here. They're each in 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And don't forget to put your pence on afterwards. Okay, so which is larger? 2/5 of £1 or 5/10 of £1? Okay, and our last question we're going to be looking at today, we are now going to be comparing some times, fractions of time. Okay, now we are going to be having, I want to know which is greater, 1 2/6 of an hour or 9/12 of an hour. Okay, now how many minutes are in an hour? Hopefully you said 60 minutes. I'm just going to write mins, the shortened version. Okay, because 60 is a nicer number to work with. Okay, so if we look over here, I want to know what 1 2/6 of an hour is. Now 1 whole, we know would be 60 on its own. Okay, so I just need to work out the extra fraction, 2/6 of 60. Okay, so I need to split 60 into 6 groups. Okay, and so what would 60 divided by 6 be? This is a nice simple one. Hopefully you said 10 again. Alright, and I need to know what 2 of those groups are. So we have 2 of those groups together, would be 20. So I've got 1 whole, which is 60, and another 20, so 60 add 20 would be 80 minutes. Okay, so this answer to this question would be 80 minutes. Okay, so now we need to work out 9/12 of an hour. Okay, so we need to split 60 into 12 groups. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now I need to do 60 divided by 12. Now that might sound like a tricky problem, but what we can do, we can count in 12s until we get to 60. Okay, so everybody together, so 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. Okay, so the answer would be 5 in each of these groups. And I need to know how much is in 9 groups. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, and let's count in 5s to find that out. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 minutes. Okay, so then let's look at them together. So we've got 80 minutes this side and 45 minutes this side. So which one is greater? You would put that sign in. Okay, so go to the website, good luck. And we'd love to see some photos of you comparing objects like I did at the beginning of this video. And there are some similar comparing problems as well. Good luck.